Dr. Reverend Trevor Gribben. He has resigned or is resigning. Who is the moderator now?
So he announced it's still Trevor Gribben until the end of this month. So he announced his decision to resign with effect from the end of the month. The previous moderator will then be back in. He will resume the role until then. I think the process begins maybe early next year, but they're not installed to the post until June. So there will be a new moderator next June. A potential emergency general assembly in December has been indicated that will happen. So this will all play out. The next moderator will be decided in a very messy context in terms of all church politics playing in the background.
And you were there as Reverend Gribben resigned.
Yeah.
I mean, what reason did he give?
So that was the thing. A statement without media invite to Assembly Buildings. It was going to be a significant announcement of public importance. No one quite knew what it was. There's obviously reference to PCI problems is playing out publicly, but this was a bit of a curveball in the sense that he came out and announced his, I'd say, unprecedented resignation. He's the first moderator in its 185-year history to resign. He announced he was resigning due to serious and significant safeguarding failures. So again, it looks like it's not connected to the other stuff, but there is a thread, there is a link between all of this. It's all very messy. But the unifying factor is central leadership and its failures to govern the church properly, critics would say. He made that announcement that he was resigning, but there was a bizarre line in it where he said, although I'm not directly responsible for safeguarding, but then went on to resign. His colleagues, senior leadership level, said they thought it was the honourable thing to do, and Trevor thought it was the honourable thing to do. So very much the sacrificial lamb in that sense, that he was going to resign and take them onto this, but in a bizarre way, while also denying any responsibility.
I'm sure you both are trying to speak to the Reverend Gribben if you can. So, I mean, if he wants to come on the bell, he's very welcome if he wants to speak about this. Now,
Auntie, can I just say he probably won't. We did doorstep him. Sunday Life did doorstep him at the weekend past, and he just told us to speak to the press office.
He probably won't, and it's probably wise for him not to speak at the minute, because the very latest is just within less than a week of that announcement on Wednesday, in which they indicated that the PCI had been cooperating fully with statutory authorities, including the PSNI. The PSNI then came out on Monday and announced that they were launching a criminal investigation. So that's the latest stage we're at now. In that context, very unlikely that anyone will speak.
And that's not a confirmation of anything. That's not an allegation. It's not an accusation. It's simply the PSNI think that there are issues serious enough that they are required to probe them, because organisations have a responsibility in terms of safeguarding, and certainly to there are crimes which must be reported to the authorities if there is any suggestion that someone's maybe in trouble or in danger somehow.
I think it's important to say the significance of the police press conference on Monday was their claim that they only became aware of the potential scale of the failures by the weekend, which is at odds with what was implied in the resignation statement by Trevor Gribben and the subsequent statement by Reverend David Bruce. So that brings us to where we're at now in terms of the unanswered question.
Yeah.
The statement, the church intended the statement to be open and transparent and kind of put to bed any kind of whiff of a scandal, and it did the opposite. It has opened a can of worms, and it has raised serious fundamental questions that remain unanswered.
And Brett and I have talked about this. We feel that PCI's timeline around these safeguarding failures are definitely open for challenge. And we have a few sort of conflicting sort of reports there. So the PSNI said discussions around safeguarding began after concerns were raised by the church following the conviction of an individual in 2024 for child sex offences. But PCI acting clerk David Allen said last week that the church began its investigation after receiving information from the PSNI that they were investigating a member of one of its congregations in May 2025. We know that goes back to the case of William Maher, who was a former primary school teacher and a voluntary youth leader with the Presbyterian Church, we believe. He was jailed for 2 years in May for sexual offences against 2 boys. He received a 2-year sentence, half in prison, half under licence. But he was back in court the following month for breaching his sex offences prevention order, which was given to him in 2024 for communication with 2 young boys.
The question we have to ask ourselves, and I have to jump in because we're mentioning an organisation here, and we're mentioning people in terms of an organisation, and we don't know exactly. We know that there were serious failings in safeguarding issues. We know that. That's a fact.
Yep.
We also know that William Maher was convicted and he had connections to the Presbyterian Church. But I have to ask him, we need to be very careful because individuals have been named and there's an ongoing investigation into this.
Yeah.
People can legitimately say, why do we think we can link William Maher to this story at all?
Well, the police have confirmed that. I received an email back from them just to ask them, was this the case that they were referring to? And they said yes, and they were investigating a number of other people as well. So we know that. UTV have also said last night, just within the past 24 hours, that the parents of 2 of the boys who were that there were offences against. The parents are saying that disclosures were made to the church in 2018 and they are claiming that the church said nothing about it. Now, we don't know the names of who they reported these allegations to or who it was that reported to them, but that's certainly what you.
It's an allegation and it's been reported. We can't say that.